Well, hello there, and welcome to a book at Bathtime with Jon Holmes and Jake Yapp. This week's book at Bathtime is Dusty Passages by Malcolm Throbbswell. The book draws inspiration from a plethora of other works, including My Secret History by the travel writer and author Paul Theroux. It's a story about a writer who is seemingly irresistible to women all over the world, and whose wife fails to sufficiently stimulate him either intellectually or sexually. John, you ready for this?
Yes, shall I start at chapter 1?
That's.
I mean, I just fear that if I don't, it won't make any sense, and will be like an episode of The Walking Dead, which flip. But that's fashionable, isn't it? If you start later in the story, and then everyone's going, "What is this? Have I missed some?" And then you flip back to the beginning. Yeah. That's like the modern way. So why don't we do that? Book of Bedtime on Radio 4 would do it in a linear fashion,
right?
But I think we're the sort of younger, edgier.
No.
And we could just start. I mean, I could just start the last chapter.
No! Stop reading ahead. Have you read this? You haven't read this?
No, I've never read this for my life. I chose it because it's partly because it is a classic work of fiction, but mostly because it's out of literary copyright and we don't have to pay anything for it.
Right.
If I'm honest. Do you want me to start?
Yes. Are you warm? Is the water warming up? By the way, it's hot.
Could you actually? Well, before we do get started,
sure.
Move your. Because I think, is that your toe?
Yeah.
Did I just brush your buttock with my toe?
No, it's fine.
All right.
I can sort of do a side saddle thing if that helps.
Did we make clear to Forex that we were actually going to do the inner bat? I mean, because this could be like a health and there's electronic equipment in here now.
They did a risk assessment.
Okay. Chapter 1, The Late Blossom. Neville's hand, still strong at 54, curled around the handle of his leather briefcase, burnished by a million caresses. Don't interrupt. It had been his father's, and he remembered seeing it in his youth. Remembered his father's admonition as he squeezed the sprung brass clasp as it popped open. Remembering his father explaining that the photography magazines inside it weren't his, they were Jeremy's from work. And anyway, he was thinking about getting into photography actually, and no, of course not that sort. And crikey, he had absolutely no idea at all they were that sort of magazine, and he'd be having words with Jeremy tomorrow. Neville eased his still surprisingly lithe frame from the Volvo.
It's always a Volvo, isn't it? It's always a Volvo.
What's always a Volvo?
It's like these books. Like it's always a Volvo, and it's always...
Yes, but the literary form of the Volvo, you have to consider the backstory of the Volvo, don't you? Because this is a sexy book. I want to make that clear from the off in case you were wondering.
I think that's a good tip, actually.
Why it wasn't. The Volvo is the epitome of safety, right?
Okay.
Right? And like the best condoms, it has airbags.
Right.
And
no, you don't want airbags in a condom. That's the whole point. You pinch the front of the Volvo, the condom, for a safe ride.
But there has to be space for the driver to go into.
No space. There must be no space. And then
the end of a Volvo?
Because then the driver pushes into the void.
Yes. And I don't know this, but this is important probably, since we're talking about it. If you do fail to squeeze the air out of the end of, let's still call it a Volvo.
Sure.
And it's got nowhere to go, the driver, right?
Yeah, the driver's head.
Does the driver go back up the shaft? Because it's got to go somewhere.
It's out of the eye sockets, I heard. It backs right the way up.
Okay.
Or the ears.
But the Volvo, what I'm saying is the Volvo is a masterpiece of Swedish engineering in terms of safety.
Sure.
And thus, I think what the author is doing here is suggesting that though we're in for a sexy ride It's a safe one.
A safe, sexy ride.
Can I continue?
Sure.
Neville eased his still surprisingly lithe frame from the Volvo, and headed towards the quad. A few students were about, the eager ones sitting
Okay,
on...
I thought it was a quad bike.
No, that's a good point.
Sure.
That is a good point, actually. Yes. I can see
don't
why
read
you think.
these
We were talking about vehicles, a quad bike.
Yeah.
I think it means a quadrangle,
Oh.
which is a sort of university term for a square.
Okay, here we go.
A few students were about, the eager ones sitting on benches, ostentatiously reading their set texts. Not sex, set texts.
You can't portmanteau that one, can you?
No.
Set text. Sex.
Set. Sweet, really. That's in the back to the text.
Okay.
The set text.
Sets.
Malcolm
Quad.
Throbbswell's Dusty Passages.
Quad.
They were also eager to do the right thing. They were all so eager to do the right thing, to earn his favour. Professor Neville Starkers, do you like the use of names in this book, was... How many episodes is this going to be?
Can I just say...
I'm literally on the second paragraph of the book, and I think we've already almost reached the end of part 1 of the programme.
10 quid. 10 quid to the first one to fart in the bath. Okay.
But could you just top? Can you just
Do you want
put a bit of hot in?
Sure. I don't know which one's hot because you filled it.
John's one is hot.
Okay. Oh, nice. I'm
Sorry,
trying to circulate it, but I don't want
to the top up there. Oh, that's enough.
That is nice, actually.
Yeah. I don't want to. That's it. Professor Neville Starkers was one of those rare educators who seemingly effortlessly earned the respect of his students. Oh, do you want me to do... I'm going to do voices.
I think you should do the voices. I think that's why they wanted you to read it, because you can do all the accents.
That's right. Sorry, this is just a word for the producer. Just bear with me, Jack. Where do we stand on Chinese accents now?
No.
You can't do this.
No.
Is that
Yeah, you definitely can't do this.
What
To the extent that this comedy bit will not make the cut.
You cowards!
I just very nearly earned 10 quid. Carry on.
All right. This is my trademark.
We're on the second paragraph.
Me.
Oh God! All right. Shall I do accents? For the
Yeah,
voice?
you should definitely do
Okay.
accents.
Could I do a Chinese one?
No.
Right.
In fact, if you read ahead, I think there's a steer on that.
I'm going to do. Was that your tummy rumbling?
Yeah, it was. Sorry about that.
Okay. Or did you do a fart and now?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay.
You'll know.
All right, Prof. Called out a cocky young student called Tom. He had a lot of promise, but needed to have his young exuberance tempered into something truly creative. Neville knew how to do that. He instinctively brought out the best in his students. Neville waved acknowledgement and watched the youth flush with excitement, because Neville was exciting. He had an undefinable charisma, one which had led him to write 4 books on subjects as varied as the Tudors, the Rolling Stones and Didcot, as well as several articles for The Guardian Online, and he'd even been on Radio 4 once, on Start the Week, except Andrew Marr had barely let him get a word in edgeways, and he didn't think much of the coffee.
Here we go.
It's double-sided.
Most excitingly, Neville was working on a novel, with a working title of Neville's Novel. Neville knew what the broad themes of the novel would encompass. Themes of truth, redemption and vigorously requited passion in later life. But for the first time in his life, his literally incredible mind was encountering writer's block. "Hello," called a voice. It was Katie, one of his freshers, a fresh-faced young woman with an open smile and a pleasing Cambrian burr to her voice.
What is Cambrian?
It's
Where is Cambria?
It's next to Cumbria.
Is it?
Yeah.
So what's a Cumbrian accent?
A Cumbrian accent,
Right. So what's
Well, no, it's alphabetical. So so Cambria is the first place.
Then it's Cambria.
Then it's Cumbria.
Cumbria.
No, it's not vowels.
Cumbria.
It's all the letters.
Oh right.
Yes. There's a lot of Umbrias up north. So it goes Cambria.
Yeah. Cumbria.
Cumbria.
Cumbria. That's cucumber, isn't it?
Yes, that's their motto. That's on their flag.
All right.
Yeah, Cumbria.
Cadumbria.
Yeah, Cadumbria.
Cambria.
Are we doing all of them? Cumbria. Cumbria.
Right the way to Cazumbria.
Cumbria. All the way to Cumbria. But this is...
Cambria.
Cambria is the first one that you come to.
Sure. And what's
if
that?
you go up the M6.
Well, I'll listen.
Can I
I'll
carry
listen.
on? This is...
Yeah, of course. I'll listen out for your accent in a bit.
Oh, hello, replied Neville, feeling a warm flush he couldn't quite put his finger on.
Yeah, but I think
No, don't. What are you
I
gonna say?
think we all can.
Yes.
We can put our finger on it.
Well, yes. Yes, we could put our finger on it.
But we shouldn't.
But
just
we
because
do
we can.
not. Exactly. Mind if I walk with you? She asked, springing lightly to her feet, with a winsome grace that reminded Neville of an eager young fawn, filled with the joy of spring an hour after being born, and the slime drying off it. I don't see why not, said Neville, feeling his grip tighten on his dead dad's leather handle. I was...
Sure.
I was thinking about Holden Caulfield, said Katie.
Is that in Cambria?
I forgot the Cambria, sorry.
So do I.
I was thinking about Holden Caulfield, said Katie.
I think that's Al Jolson.
He was from Cambria. And also Katie's Blacktop.
It's not that kind of book.
Ah, yes, The Catcher in the Rye. Yes.
Just gonna say.
Shall I change the accent?
Katie is in it way too much for this to be a voice.
I was thinking how fun.
Shall I change that? I mean,
How fun
I
the
think
sexy.
it's-
No, we should
I'm
have this
open
conversation.
I'm genuinely open
Sure.
to changing the accent according to,
It's-
I think you've nailed it, and I want you to carry on.
You were debating whether he was a countercultural icon or an example of classic white privileged men squandering opportunities. Go on, replied Neville. Well, I mean, it seems obvious to me what the problem with Holden is, really. Oh, yes. Neville was intrigued. What's the problem with him? It's his youth. Katie almost spat the word. It's his youth.
I think.
That's Katie actually spitting the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
She only almost spat the...
Yeah. So can you almost spit the word youth?
It's his... No, too much.
Too much.
It's his...
That was like one up from dribble.
He's just a silly young boy, really. Youth is wasted on the young and all that. He's immature, like the boys round here, she went on, casting a dismissive eye over the modest contingent of young men dotted about the quad, not a bike.
Sorry.
Slightly too close. Were you getting a bit uncomfortable?
Well,
Well, if you're I'm going to take the opportunity to move on somewhere.
It's good to rotate.
Couldn't we have got a bigger bath? Where was I? Quad, immature, or dismissive. I don't like the boys. You don't like the boys around here, quite an eyebrow raised. Oh, well, they're all right if you like that sort of thing. I think men are like wine.
I don't think so.
In what way?
Well, it's just always wine, isn't it? It's never like yogurt. Like yogurt doesn't improve with age.
No, well, quite the opposite.
Men are like yogurt.
Do you want me to
They
change
don't
it?
improve with age.
I mean, you're getting on a bit. I'm getting on a bit.
Sure.
Would you argue that we're...
Like yogurt?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Neville stopped outside his office and fished into his pocket for his keys. He looked at Katie. There she was, impetuous, yes, perhaps even mischievous. Was she taunting him? Daring him? Did this incredibly vibrant young woman? Was she actually up for all of the mucky doings with him? Find out in the next episode.
That was good, that.
I think...